Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. This is Michael, and Tuya and I are here. Maybe you want to just say hi, Tuya, or maybe I don't know.
Hi to
There she is.
everybody.
We're in different locations, and we want to discuss with you a little bit about Sirius. As a matter of fact, Brett, if you have the link for our coming broadcast, maybe you can put that in the chat box so everybody can pick it up. I can't go retrieve that right now. We're going to discuss Sirius and Leo for maybe altogether maybe an hour and a half, something like that. And if you have questions or thoughts, we'll certainly open the floor to you a little bit. You know, it's kind of a webinar, but it's in a way mostly a presentation. And then the full moon is coming, you see. We begin our full moon broadcast at 8:55 a.m. Universal Time, GMT. Here in Finland, it's 5 minutes to 12 that we'll begin that. And then in terms of Universal Time, your full moon is going to be at 10:42 and 52 seconds. It's almost 10:43. So we hope that you can tune in with us for our service meditation, which will be led by Tuya, and it will be have music and images as usual. Well, let's just do a little alignment, and then I'll turn it over to Tuya, who will speak about this subject that you see before your eyes, and then I'll round it off a little later with some general things about Sirius Leo, which perhaps may not have been mentioned. There's so much, really, here. We just need to tune in on the amazing energy which is available to us at this time and utilize it in our discipleship work. So wherever we may be in the body, so to speak, we are all together on the plane of the higher mind in that unitive soul state. We are in each other's presence, and more than the outer person, we are the inner individual. We are together as units of consciousness. And the energies of the time will help us feel that unity. This Leo Sirius time is very good for feeling that high state that we call isolated unity. We're just beginners at it, of course, but you can begin to feel the unity and isolate it from all the other diversity. You feel the one in the many. So during our discussion, we will receive, align with energies from the important planets of the time, from Uranus, from Neptune, and of course from the Sun. And we will be open to the great energies of identity from Leo. And we will be open to the influence of the sunshine of the major sun. The major sun for us, Sirius. The sunshine of the major sun, which is behind not only our own initiatory process on this planet, but it is the initiator of our entire solar logos and his solar system. So we will remain open to these energies now and allow them to work in us as we discuss various factors around the Sirius mysteries as they relate to Leo and to our life of discipleship and initiation. We'll sound one quiet home and then Okay, thank you everyone, and I'll turn this over now to Tuya, who will offer her thoughts on this subject. Go ahead, Tuya.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you for the alignment as well. And again, hello. It is fantastic to gather together around this subject of Sirius and these energies which are pouring through our system at this time. When we think about all this knowledge what DK has been given, and also what is in the esoteric teaching in different ways expressed, we get the idea how extremely important it is for disciples to really give time to investigate and study what is hidden in the energies of Sirius and what is hidden in this story which is related to Sirius, and we can really say that it is a great mystery. I will say only few words in Finnish. Hyvää huomenta teille kaikille. Me puhumme Michaelin kanssa Siriuksesta ja joissakin vaiheissa teen aina semmoisen pienen synapsiksen, mutta emme käännä nyt ihan kaikkea. So we are not going to translate everything into Finnish this time. We try to do that in other time more properly. But let us start to study about this aspect of Vajjet, the eye of Ra. Aloitamme nyt puhumaan Vajjetista, eli Raan silmästä. Ra indicates the greatest God in our system, who is the solar logos, the sun. And he has two eyes. But we will talk about the eye of Vajjet, which is the right eye of Ra. Me puhumme nyt Vajjetista, joka on Raan oikea silmä, kaikesta korkeimman kuninkaan, aurinkokuninkaan silmä. Try to make this move on. So, we are living at this time, the full moon time, and by DK we know that it is a very important time in relationship to star Sirius, and last night who were following Michael's presentation, you were able to get into these vast vistas of this idea. Sirius liittyy tähän voimallisesti täyteen kuuhun, leijonan täyteen kuuhun. Osiris is considered, Orion is considered to be the cosmic Christ in some sense of thinking. And we can find Sirius if we imagine the Orion and the belt of Orion, and then we follow where the Orion belt, the three stars are pointing at. So the next brightest star you find along the way of the 3 stars of Orion, that is Sirius. Siriuksen löytää taivaalta, kun katsoo Orionia, jota katsotaan eräällä aspektilla olevan kosminen Kristus, tuon Väinämöisen vyön. Kun sitä seuraa, niin ensimmäinen kirkkain tähti on sitten Sirius. And DK talks about that during this time of the full moon in Leo, the Sirian energies are the most powerful. And the whole hierarchy turns towards the great star of Sirius. Sanat Kumara is the key and pivotal point of that alignment. So this, when we think about the idea of Leo, it tells about the kinghood, the kingship. So all the kings, the greatest ones, are now aligned, and there is a mystery about that. Michael was talking about the isolated unity, which can be said that this is the highest king within us, the one who is standing alone, but yet is all. Tässä ajassa, tässä hetkessä on kaikki kuninkuuteen liittyvät asiat voimallisempia ja kaikki kuninkaat, suuret jumalkuninkaat ovat virittäytyneinä tässä hetkessä ja koko hierarkia kääntyy kohti Siriusta. For Egypt and Egyptians, the Sirius was very important star. It is said that the pyramids are aligned along this, and especially the Great Pyramid is aligned with Sirius, and all of their stories are full of myths and legends of Sirius. And DK said, was that DK or was that Blavatsky, now I don't remember, that wherever there is a legend that is telling about the truth. Can you
Master Moria,
this,
Master Moria.
Michael?
Master Moria said that.
Oh.
Okay, okay, all right.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Oh, sure, right. He is full of stories. So Egypt is, what we can say, the treasure box of all kinds of myth and legends. And they are developing. That is one of the signs when these legends had a real origin by the greater masters in the history of humanity, that when the legend is developing, it's like when human being is developing, also these myths are moving forward, because the seers of the race and the wise women and men, they are adding their wisdom into these living legends, and that's why they are really telling about the story, how we evolve. That's why it's important every now and then to return to legends and myths, because they are giving a huge aspect of our development of the consciousness and our psyche, and also the problems and the challenges, the tests that the disciple or the evolving one is going to be confronted. On tärkeää meidän aina silloin tällöin palata myytteihin, sillä mestari Moria sanoi, että missä on legenda, siellä on myös totuus. Ja sen tähden nämä legendat, ja varsinkin elävät legendat, jossa tarina ikään kuin kehittyy, niin kertoo meidän kehittyvästä sielustamme. So in our myth, our epic, which is called Kalevala, that is the same way that the new Kalevala is born at this time, because the seers of our nation, they are seeing how the evolving heroes in our myths are going forward. Myös meidän Kalevalamme on nousemassa, uusi Kalevala on syntymässä, koska näkijämme ja tietäjämme katsovat tätä uutta näiden sankareiden nousua ja kehittymistä. So I was writing to our group, the Plural Sisterhood, sisters and brothers, about this time, which is very interesting when we think about these three signs, Gemini, Cancer and Leo. All of them have relationship with Sirius. So somehow this time of the year is very potent for all of the disciples. Kun ajattelemme viimeisiä merkkejä, kaksonen, rapu, taikka näitä merkkejä kaksonen, rapu ja leijona, kaikki liittyvät jollakin lailla hyvin voimallisesti Siriukseen. Decanates in Gemini are related to Sirius, or the last decanate especially, then by its rulers, Mercury and Venus, very much related, and we can say also Earth, because the Earth is the father of Sirius, Geb, according to Egyptian myths. And then in Cancer we have alignment now with the sign of Cancer and Sirius, and then Leo, as said, is very much related to Sirius. Eli nämä kaikki kolme merkkiä, kuten sanottu, liittyvät hyvin voimallisesti Siriukseen. So for Egyptians it was Master Serapis, and we know that according to Master Decay, he is called the Egyptian. So he was very, very important for in a certain period for Egyptians, and also then for Romans. He let us read what Master D.K. said about him. One other master may here be briefly mentioned, the Master Serapis, frequently called the Egyptian. He is the master upon the fourth ray and the great art movements of the world, the evolution of music, and that of painting and drama receive from him an energizing impulse. At present he is giving most of his time and attention to the work of the Deva, or ancient evolution. Until their agency helps to make possible the great revelation in the world of music and painting which lies immediately ahead. More about him cannot be given out, nor can his dwelling place be revealed. Tässä mestari DK hyvin lyhyesti mainitsee mestari Serapiksesta, jota hän kutsuu myös egyptiläiseksi. Hän on mestari, joka on 4. säteellä, ja hänen takana on nämä suuret taiteelliset suuntaukset, maailman suuntaukset. Ja hän tällä hetkellä on keskittäytynyt enkelievoluutioon, koska tämä evoluutio ja ihmisevoluutio ovat lähestymässä toisiinsa. Hän valmistelee tätä suurta paljastumista, joka tulee tapahtumaan musiikin ja maalausten kautta, joka on hyvin välittömässä läheisyydestä. Hänestä ei voi puhua paljon, eikä hänen olinpaikkaansa paljasteta. It is very interesting when we think about the fourth ray, which is related to arts and also the beauty and harmony, that the path of Sirius, the fourth path to Sirius, is the one which is the most mysterious again. That somehow for the fourth ray this time, those great mysteries, and especially which are related to Sirius, are related to. On mielenkiintoista huomata, kuinka tuo 4. säde, joka liittyy taiteisiin, on tällä hetkellä ikään kuin kaikista mysteerisin ja kätketyin, ja nähtävästi juuri sen takia, kun se on niin lähellä meitä tämä paljastuminen. And maybe that is exactly because this revelation is so near, and also because most of the humanity will be going along the way of the fourth ray and the path to Sirius. Ja ehkä myös sen tähden, että tuo 4. säde ja sitten 4. polku, joka johtaa Siriukseen, niin sitä suurin osa ihmiskunnasta tulee sitten kulkemaan. And surely one of the reasons is that it is related to the angel kingdom and the devas. And why I'm saying that it is because when we deal with the Deva kingdom, we always will deal with the matter in certain form and about manifestation or building. Ja yksi syy, koska tämä liittyy 4. säteeseen ja enkelikuntaan, ja se miksi sanon sen on se, että aina kun puhumme enkelikunnasta tai devoista, niin se aina liittyy myös aineeseen ja manifestaatioon ja rakentamiseen. Why I was wanting to note for you about the symbol of Serapis, there is another form as well, but here we see Serapis as a bull. And that is something interesting when we study about the bull symbolism. The bull is also always related to earth. Tässä on mielenkiintoista nähdä Serapiksen tätä symboliikkaa. Häntä sanotaan myös häräksi, ja tämä härkä symboliikka liittyy maaplaneettaan. We will study sometimes more about the bulls in different forms, but just for you to recognize that one of the symbol of Serapis is bull. Haluan tutkimme tuota härän symboliikkaa joskus toisten, mutta halusin vain mainita, että yksi Serapis, mestari Serapiksen symboleista on tuo härkä. This is another one which you will see during the time of Serapis in Alexandria. He was a great teacher who had, it was even a cult called the cult of Serapis. And here we have this interesting cup above the head of Serapis, and it has a certain symbolism in it. Tässä me näemme Serapiksen, joka tuon Aleksandrian aikaan, jossa hän oli erittäin suuri opettaja, ja hänellä oli ikään kuin tämmöinen Serapiksen kultti. He was very known as well in Roman times, and sometimes he is called Serapis taught, and what was the other name? Anyway, he was considered a great teacher, and some people are relating him as well to the myths of Jesus or the Christ myths. Serapista kutsuttiin myös Serapikseksi, ja hänet liitetään myös tämmöisiin Jeesus-legendoihin ja myytteihin. Hän oli tavallaan vastaava ja yhtä kuuluisa. So he was as famous as Jesus for us. So about this cup, what is on the top of the head, that is symbolizing the one who can carry the death. Tämä symboloi tuo pieni kuppi pään päällä olentoa, joka voi kantaa kuoleman. So Serapis, or all of those gods who have this cup above their head, for instance Sirius sister, Nephthys, twin sister, what we can relate to Sirius B, she has also that kind of cup above her head. Serapis, joka kantaa tuota kuppia, samalla lailla Siriuksen kaksoissisar Nephthys, niin hänellä on tuo kuppi. So this is indicating those great ones who have been descending in the darkness, and they can carry the ones who are in the darkness and who has died, and the great light which is pouring out from these teachers, they can carry them out from the darkness into the light. Ja nuo suuret kuninkaat tai jumalat, jotka laskeutuvat tähän pimeyteen ja joilla on tämä kuppi, niin heillä on voima viedä olennot pimeydestä pois kohti valoa. It would be very, very interesting for us to study his words, because it is known that he was writing a lot, but he really kept his society very guarded, and his teaching is hard to find, even though one knows that there is a lot of writings by him, personally by him. Olisi hienoa tietää näistä kirjoituksista, mitä hän henkilökohtaisesti kirjoitti, mutta hänen nämä opetuksensa niin oli hyvin salattuja. And I am just relating and thinking that the reason is because he is on the fourth ray, and all of his teaching would have been about symbolism as well, which is directly related to the Deva kingdom, and thus opening the secrets in relationship with the Deva kingdom. Ja oletan, että se syy, minkä takia näitä opetuksia pidettiin niin salassa, koska ne varmasti olivat täynnä symboliikkaa, koska hän on 4. säteellä ja ne vaikuttavat suoraan enkeli Deva-evoluutioon, ja sen tähden ne vaikutukset olisivat suoranaisia. So we are living now the time of Leo. That is actually the image of that lion what was killed. Michael knows more about this story, but anyway, I took this beautiful image about this lion, and it's very interesting that this story happened, or this happened during the energies of Leo, which is relating also how we are killing the lower lion within ourselves, or the lower lion will eat us. So it is what does that indicate in relationship, this man who was killing the lion, was that the lower lion taking over him. Eli tässä on kuva siitä leijonasta, joka on saanut paljon julkisuudessa palstatilaa miehestä, amerikkalainen mies, joka tappoi tämän kuuluisan leijonan, ja siitä on noussut suuri kohu. So when we think about the idea of Leo, we must always remember that when we study whatever sign, we are not ever studying only that sign. We study the opposing sign at the same time, and the whole cross where we find that sign. So lion, Leo, is on the cross of the fixed cross, and then the opposing sign is Aquarius. Kun me opiskelemme mitä tahansa merkkiä, meidän täytyy opiskella samanaikaisesti se risti, jolla tämä merkki on, ja vastakkaista merkkiä. So we have Aquarius as the opposing sign, and the highest ruler in that sign is the moon. And then the Leo has the triple sun related to it. On mielenkiintoista nähdä, että vesimiehen korkein merkki on, tai korkein hallitsija planeetta on kuu, ja sitten taas leijonassa on aurinko 3 tasolla. So now we start to think about the sun, really. The sun, which is in 3 formation, or in 3 different level in relationship to Leo, now we start to think about its power, what it has to us. This time, when we have the Leo moon, we can think that it is as well affecting our personality, and maybe we will battle in the personality level. But if we are anyway sensitive, as it is said that the star Sirius is called the brilliant star of sensitivity. This time can be also very, very sensitive time in relationship to the soul. We can respond to very high energies, and the whole work which the hierarchy is doing this time is related to these Syrian energies, how they are pouring and how they are directed to humanity. When we study again the Egypt and its legends, we can see that the time of Leo is related to all kinds of days which are related to Sirius. So there is something about this connection that this time, when we think about the life of the disciples, the major changes can happen in very concrete ways because they affect directly to our etheric nature if we direct these energies via our mind, the way that we are aligning with this source and consciously build ourselves, consciously do the work, the magical work with us, because Sirius, the Isis, was related to magic. She was the highest priest of magic. She was really the one who could use the words. Vain lyhykäisesti sanomme Siriuksesta, kuinka se liittyy tähän aikaan, tähän hetkeen vuodesta, ja jokainen oppilas voi käyttää hyvin tietoisesti näitä energioita, koska Sirius liittyy magiaan. Hän oli kaikista korkein magian jumalatar, ja hän tiesi nämä maagiset voimasanat. Ja sen tähden tämä aika on, jos haluaa työskennellä sielullisesti omassa itsessään, niin on hyvin voimakasta siihen. So the words are interestingly related to star Vesta, and Vesta and Sirius are opposing each other. Nuo sanat liittyvät mielenkiintoisesti, not Vesta, Vega. They are related so interestingly to star of Vega, which is in Capricorn, and Vega is opposing Sirius. Eli tämä Vega-tähti liittyy sanoihin, ja nämä mielenkiintoisesti Vega ja Sirius ovat oppositiossa toistensa kanssa. So Sun was the most important god for Egyptians. Here we have a symbol of Kefri, who is this beetle who is carrying the sun. And this is emphasizing the relationship with the lowest form with the sun. The sun is giving its rays to all created world. The sun is giving the life to every single unit in the system, and this power of the rays which are coming out of the sun, they were named by Sirius, because every single ray had its particular quality, and Sirius, the Isis, was naming all of those qualities. And she was the one who was invoking them, and she was the one who was making these magical relationships with these qualities that was used by him when she was healing, or when she was protecting, or when she was involved with any kind of work. And always her work was related to light. She was not dark goddess and in that sense that we have this terrorist group called ISIS um, is really interesting, because when the Pluto went to Capricorn, then this group was really coming into the consciousness of humanity, but that is the dark, very dark ISIS, and in one sense should not be called at all ISIS, because the ISIS was absolutely the goddess of sun and of light. Isis, joka liittyy aurinkoon, on aurinkojumalatar, ja hänen kaikki toimensa olivat valosta, ja hänen toimintansa keskittyi valoon. Hän oli suuri suojelija ja parantaja. Hän paransi maagisilla sanoillaan, ja hän nimesi kaikki auringon säteet. When you think about the Egyptian sun, I don't have the image here, but it is very often formed or drawn this way, that the sun has hands coming out from the disk. And that is about these different qualities which are working into the system. Joskus näemme sellaisen kuvan egyptiläisestä auringosta, jossa kädet tulevat ulos auringosta, ja tämä kuvaa juuri niitä laatuja, parantavia laatuja, jotka virtaavat auringosta. Here we have this symbolism of the sun, which is related to the morning sun. Tässä meillä on symboliikka, joka liittyy tuon auringon kulkuun, auringon aamu symboliikkaan. Sun has different forms. It has the morning sun, noon sun, the evening sun, and the night sun. And all of those are telling for us about the process of initiation. Auringon 4 olomuotoa, taikka hänellä oli monia olomuotoja, mutta kaikki liittyvät eri jaksoihin initiaatioprosessissa. So Bennu is a bird, which is said that he who came into being by himself. That is one name of the sun. And Bennu is related to that primordial time where sun is born, or he is coming out from the primordial waters. He is born by himself. Bennu liittyy auringon siihen kohtaan, jossa hän tulee tämmöisistä alkuvesistä ylös itsessään ja itsestään. Sometimes it is also told that there was only Bennu in the beginning, who was the one who was born from himself, and he was the first. Joskus on Bennu, joka vain on ollut olemassa ja syntyy omasta itsestään, aivan samalla lailla kuin meidän kalevalaisessa myytissä on sitten sotka. In our Kalevala myth we have a bird sotka, which is a little bit the similar way, because it has hair like the Bennu has here. Meidän sotkalinnullahan on samalla tavalla hiukset niin kuin tällä bennulinnulla. So this is the first stage of sun, of Ra. And then when we think about his life, his daily life, the rhythmic life, this is the image of that how how Ra is underneath. It's like the night sun. Tässä on taas ikään kuin yöauringosta kyse. And now we will start to look this eye. Here we have the eye, and also the boat has on both sides the eye of Vajjet. I don't know how you are pronouncing that. How, Michael, you would say that in English, Vajjet or Vajjet? Are you there? Maybe Michael is not hearing, or he is not on. Okay, I just heard Michael coming here. Michael, how do you pronounce budget in English? Budget. Budget. Okay. Michael came and brought for me water. Thank you. So this boat is indicating when the sun goes underneath during the night, the other side of earth, but it was looked that he really sinks into the darkness. And during that night it was full of different dangers. So what does it indicate? It indicates that when we are in the process of initiation, that is always when the real initiation is taken place, we go into the darkness. We go into the caves, and the whole initiation process is full of dangers, because then all the aspects of the dweller will test us and will confront us. And only then, if the consciousness of the initiate has been taking over enough, then the incarnated soul can pass through those tests. Even though it is said that we are initiated before we are in the ceremony of the initiation, because the consciousness has reached that level. But anyway, there are always a danger. It is always a possibility that the process will not go through, that it will fail, and that is not talked so much, or it is not so much in the consciousness of people, that the initiation process is really a difficult and dangerous process. But here we have the eye of Vajjet. Actually, in my opinion, this is the eye of Vajjet, which is in the both sides of the boat, and this is the eye of Sirius B. This time I am not going to go to this relationship more. I just mention that sometimes we have to elaborate it, but I am just going through some of the symbolism around this eye story. Eli tuosta silmästä sen verran, että auringon veneessä on molemmilla puolilla silmät, jotka mielestäni liittyvät tähän Vajjet jumalattareen, ja sitten tämä silmä taas, mikä on täällä, se liittyy Siriukseen, Sirius B:hen. Ja kun aurinko on tässä formaatissa, että hän matkustaa yöllä veneellään pimeyden läpi, se kertoo siitä prosessista, jossa vihkimys tapahtuu, ja ne vaarat on myös sen takia niin todelliset. So the form of that is again Kefri, the little beetle. Ja tuo Kefri on tämän muodon, tuo pieni koppakuoriainen on tämän symboli. So then we move forward. When we think about this symbol here and then this symbol here, this is the same. They both are called Kefri or Kefera. The Kefera is more about the power, the force, and Kefri is more about the name. So this is the form how sun is coming out, Ra is coming out in the morning. So he has the falcon head, which is related to Horus, and all of that for me is telling about the stories of the solar angels. They are telling about how the energies pouring from the Sirius via the sun, how they are affecting us, what kind of way it is, and what stage of the initiation it is, and what kind of qualities are pouring out during those stages. Again, we could elaborate all of this symbolism, but we just follow now this eye symbolism, this is one of the great symbols of the eye, the sun disk, and then the cobra, which is related to it. And this is the Vajjet symbol, the disk of the sun, and then the Kundalini energy which is coming out from the sun. And this is the cosmic Kundalini, and it is coming via Sirius. This type of Mahat is coming from Sirius. And here we have on Kefri, Kefera, the symbol of the sun again above. And this Kefera power, we have the suns here as well, which is then the symbol of Maat. You see here, so it is the similar symbol than the sign of Libra, that there is the circle and then the horizon, the rising sun in one sense. Ja tässä meillä on sitten auringon eri symboliikkaa. Nyt ollaan aamussa ja aamulla aurinko tulee tämmöisenä haukkapäisenä olentona, jolla on aurinko kiekko pään päällä, jonka ympärillä on tuo Gobra, joka kuvaa sitten kosmista kundaliinia, joka tulee Siriukselta. And here we still have this same symbolism of Kefri, but when we have this symbolism that there are these two chairs, it is telling about the initiation. So Kefri is always the symbol of transmutation, transformation, transfiguration. It renews, rejuvenates, stimulates, uplifts, resurrects. According to these, when we put this into the practical terms, the morning will be always for us if we are in any low states, psychologically or physically. The morning is the secret time when the Kefri energy is the most powerful. And according to the legend, then Isis is healing us, and we should go into the sun and call upon these energies as they were calling, because they were naming that way. We can name according to our consciousness, but these Syrian uplifting, resurrecting energies are the most powerful in the mornings. Nämä Kefri-voimat, Kefera-voimat, ylösnousemusvoimat ja parantavat voimat ovat kaikista voimallisimmat aamulla. Jos olemme millään lailla joko henkisesti tai fyysisesti sellaisessa kunnossa, että tarvitsemme uudistavia voimia, niin aamut ovat ne hetket, jolloin meidän tulisi tietoisesti kohottaa itsemme. And especially because we have the symbolism of Venus here, the uncross, that is telling us that when Venus is upon the horizon, this is for us the exact moment. Eli silloin, milloin Venus on tuolla horisontissa, niin se oli se meidän hetkemme olla. Because all of this is telling about how Ra, the highest God, will look upon his created world. Tämä on se hetki, jolloin kaikista korkein kuningas, aurinko Jumala, katsoo hänen luotua maailmansa. So then, when sun moves forward and it is evening and night, he transforms himself to the Atum or Atem or Tem, and he is the evening form. He is the evening stage. Ja nyt sitten illalla tulee tämä Atum, Atem taikka Tem, joka on tämä yö taikka ilta muoto auringosta. And here, if you look, we have the symbolism of a man. Now, when thinking about conscious wise, we have first the bud stage where we have the pedal, and then we have the horse, and then we have the man coming out, telling about that now it is completed. The stage is matured. So the shortest cycle is the day, and all of these things are happening during the day. And because it is related to the eye of Ra, that is how the eye is looking upon us, that how we evolve even in that short cycle as the day. Every day is a new beginning. Every day we can invoke the higher energies. All the great masters always indicate that we should meditate in the mornings and take these energies, and we bring it into the through the day into the night, where it should be matured, and we should have been gaining the pearl and the teaching of the day. And then we can expand that cycle into the cycles of 1 month and 1 year and 3 years, 7 years and so forth. Tuo auringon rytmi kertoo siitä, kuinka me aloitamme aina ikään kuin tämmöisestä nuppuvaiheesta, ja sitten se avautuu kohti iltaa, ja näitä syklejä voi sitten olla joko päivä tai kuukausi tai viikko tai vuosi, 3 vuotta, 7 vuotta ja niin edespäin. Kaikissa on tuo sama kehittyminen, että se joku, mikä lähtee liikkeelle, sitten kehittyy tuohon ihmismuotoon. Siinä kehityksen vaiheessa se lähtee siitä koppakuoriaisesta, tulee haukkana ja sitten on ihmisenä loppujen lopuksi. Very important. So now we will go closer to this whole idea of the eye. It is said that Ra has 2 twin lions actually. They are his children. Sanotaan, että Raalla on 2 lasta, 2 leijonaa itse asiassa, jotka ovat kaksosia. The son is called Ra and the daughter is called, the son is called Shu and the daughter is called Tefnut. Shu is related to the heat and light, and Tefnut moisture and water. But what is very interesting is that when Tefnut develops, she becomes the Sekhmet, the lioness, and she becomes very fiery and very, very flame-like. On mielenkiintoista, että nämä lapset Shu ja Tefnut, toinen Shu liittyy kuumuuteen ja valoon ja Tefnut taas sitten veteen ja kosteuteen, että Tefnut kehittyy Sekhmetiksi, leijonattareksi, joka on sitten täyttä tulta ja liittyy liekkiin. And it is somehow, when we think about the process in women, that when the menopause has been gone through, according also the very many native traditions, is that the woman becomes fire, that they are first the water and then they become fire as well. And that is found also in Tefnut. And that is related to the process of the eye, how the eye is opening. Tässä kun ajattelemme tätä silmäkehitystä ja kuinka sitten Tefnut muuttuu tulisemmaksi, ja se liittyy samalla lailla naisten kiertoon, että silloin kun tuo menopausi on menty läpi, niin silloin naisesta hän muuntuu ikään kuin vedestä tuleksi. Ja se liittyy silmän avautumiseen. So the eye was related always to the feminine part. When we think about Buddhism, the feminine gods, goddesses, they have the eye in their palms and their feet, or they are covered by eyes. And when the eye is open, it means, of course, the eye, the third eye, or the real pineal gland activation, that the eye of the soul starts to be coming through. And every one of us, we know that there is no one sharper than an old wise woman in seeing. So there is something really related to that seeing and to army of the voice, the etheric sensitivity, which is again the activity of the Sirius, how we become so sensitive that it is like all the eyes are opening wide open in our etheric field, and we can see back and forth. So Tefnut, who is transformed into Sekhmet, becomes this great eye for God, God or the Sun, that when anything goes aside of the law of the greatest God, the Sun, then this power, which will become in the form of the lioness or in the form of the great cobra, they start to spit fire, meaning that they spit the poison to the one which has not been fulfilling the law, and they burn them in that fire. This time, when we leave the powerful energies of Sirius, we know that also this inner fire is very strong, and it is burning the dust. It burns away the waste. It burns away lower parts. It burns away everything where the soul wants to move. It removes the obstacles by the fire. So it's the same thing that Sekhmet starts to guard the law of Ra, the sun, and kills everyone who is not going along according to the law. And then she has to be even tamed, that she becomes so furious. The legend tells that she was almost killing the whole humanity because of that rage, what she saw, that how the humanity was not fulfilling the law of Maat, which is the other goddess of justice, and but she was supposed to be tamed, and the thought Mercury was the one who was taming her. And the same story is in Hindu myths, where Kali, the wife of Shiva, is almost killing the humanity, and also Kanges, Kanji, which is the cosmic Kanji, which is coming in such a power from the cosmos, which is about the Kundalini power again, comes out then via Shiva from his head, just tamed, because it is too powerful force. And these all stories for us are telling about this, that the eye, when it is opening and the Kundalini is rising, it burns everything what is unperfected, everything which is sinful, everything which is out of order, everything which is not along and according to the law. And that's why the Kundalini has to be kept sleeping, because we are not perfected, we are not perfect yet, and we are not even good in the eye of Ra. We have to develop and we have to purify ourselves, and then the Kundalini can start to rise really in its power, and that is related to the opening of the eye, the inner eye, the Ra's eye. It is also called the eye of Horus, the eye of soul, so the eye of spirit or eye of the soul are related to the different eyes of Ra, the left and the right eye. Eli tuossa äsken puhuin tuon pitkän tarinan tuosta silmästä, joka liittyy meidän prosessiimme siitä, että kundaliini, nukkuva kundaliini alkaa nousta meissä itsessämme, mutta koska se polttaa kaiken epäpuhtauden ja kaiken mikä on synnillistä, niin sen takia tuo kundaliinikäärme täytyy pitää uinumassa, että ennen kuin se voi nousta täydessä voimassaan ja vasta sitten, kun
We seem to have lost Tuya's audio. I'm going to go there and see if I can
aha,
bring. Now you're back, Tuya. Your audio was lost.
aha,
So for the
okay,
last minute, your audio was lost. Okay.
okay. So anyway, I'm not going back to that. We just have to talk more about this. This is Horus. Tässä on Horus, ja meidän täytyy puhua enemmän näistä. So the eye in three different ways is related to the sun. Ja silmä liittyy kolmella tavoin aurinkoon. The eye of Horus, which is the left eye of the Ra. Tämä on vasen Raan silmä, joka liittyy sitten sieluun, Horuksen silmään. So this is the symbolism of that, and it is very interesting that Set, who is stolen the eye of Horus, is cutting the eye into 6 pieces. Tämä on hyvin mielenkiintoista, että Set, joka varastaa tai ottaa Horuksen silmän, sielun silmän, niin hän katkaisee tai pilkkoo silmän 6 osaan. This symbolism we can think about how when we come into the cosmic physical plane, then this the aspect of the soul is cut into 6 pieces. Sielun aspekti, kun me tulemme pimeyteen, katkaistaan ikään kuin 6 osaan. And this is now the eye of Ra, the Vajjet itself. Ja nyt tässä on tämä Vajjet, and there we have and I'm going to end here then. We have this goddess of the serpent and goddess of the vulture. These, both of them, are telling about the protection. So it is interesting that when the eye is functioning in us, when the third eye is opening, when the pineal gland is stimulated and starts to really function in the life of disciple, we get a huge amount of energy, and that is coming from Sirius, which is protecting us. On mielenkiintoista nähdä, että oppilaan elämässä tällaiset suojaavat voimat avautuvat silloin, kun 3. silmä meissä alkaa avautua ja käpyrauhanen toimia. They both, the vulture is called the goddess Nekbet, tuo kotka kuvaa, korpikotka kuvaa jumalatar Nekbettiä, joka liittyy kanssa suojelemiseen, ja tämä käärme jumalatar myös liittyy suojelemiseen. And it is, as I said, all of that is related to the eye, the process of the sun, how the sun is affecting in us, stimulating in us, and stimulating via its prana, bringing this living force into our tiny system. And all of these channels, sacred channels, are opening in us. So in Buddhahood, in the Buddha state, we have the huge Naga protecting the Buddha. So this is how the Kundalini, the Shakti power in us, comes through the whole body, through the nadis, through these inner channels, and the Shakti, the Naga rises, the Kundalini rises and protects us. And all of these eyes are opening. That's why it is said that the Buddha never sleeps, or the great yogi never sleeps, the Isis never sleeps, because the Kundalini, the serpent, is always awake. Kun ihminen on kehittynyt buddhaksi, on symboliikassa, kuinka naaga, käärme nousee Buddhan takana. Ja sanotaan, että Buddha ei koskaan nuku, Isis ei koskaan nuku, käärme ei koskaan nuku, koska silmä on auki. So the all-seeing eye, the real Shakti, does not have the eye, how do you call this? Is that called the lash of the eye, or Michael, what is this called in English?
That's where the eyelash
Okay, Michael,
would be a protective filter. Yes.
Yes, because it closes.
The eyelid,
Yes,
the
but
eyelid and the eyelash. The eyelid and the eyelash.
Yeah. So the all-seeing eye will not have this, because it is always open. And that is the real eye of Ra, the one who is enlightened. It will never cover itself anymore, and that is a real symbolism of the Shakti and of that cobra. The segment, the goddess segment, the Isis, who is not sleeping either. Sirius is never sleeping. It's the same line, and it's the same symbolism of that, what it does when these great forces, the city powers, the God powers has been awakened in us. Eli silloin kun nuo kaikki siddhi-voimat on meissä avautunut, niin meidän silmämme ei sulkeudu, eli ei ole kaikki näkevässä silmässä ei ole silmäluonta, luomea, vaan silmä on auki koko ajan. And then the eye have several tiers. There is the three tiers, as we see. So the highest tier is that which is marked by the cobra, which is the tier of compassion. Ja silmässä on kolmenlaisia kyyneleitä, joka on tämä korkein kobra-kyynel on myötätunnon kyynel. Then there is the tier of remorse, on katumuksen kyynel, or it can be also called the tier of transformation, taikka se on transformaation kyynel. And then there is the tier of selfishness, ja on olemassa itsekyyden kyynel, which is based upon the grief, based upon the anger, or based upon disappointment. Taikka sitten on tämmöisen itsekyyden kyynel, joka on niin kuin vihaan taikka pettymykseen liittyvä kyynel. So the Ra, when he was crying, milloinka Ra itki, then the humanity was born. And that was the eye of, or the tear of joy, because he had lost his daughter and the son, the two lions. He lost them into the Nu, into the waters, and he sent forth the Sekhmet or Tefnut or Vajjet into the form of eye, and the eye was finding his children, and because of that joy or compassion, then the humanity was born. Ja ihmiskunta taas syntyi Ran kyyneleestä, tuosta myötätunnon tai ilon kyyneleestä, jossa hän lähetti Vajjet jumalattareen taikka Sekhmetin taikka Tefnutin muodossa etsimään omia lapsiaan, ja kun he löytyivät, niin tästä ilosta tuli kyyneleet, ja siitä kyyneleestä syntyi ihmiskunta. So this is very interesting symbolism, and we may think about that by ourselves. What does it mean when we have been born from the tear of the sun, of joy? Ja voimme sitten itsessämme miettiä, että mitä se sitten tarkoittaa, että olemme syntyneet aurinkojumalan ilon kyyneleistä koko ihmiskunta. So I think that I will stop here. I was talking again longer than I was aiming to. I'm sorry, Michael. Now you can take over.
Whoops. I just want to, let's see, yes. Okay. Well, friends, I want to ask you, since this is a kind of webinar, whether you have any, we have a little time, whether you have any questions or comments about what Tuija has presented. This Egyptology is a very deep thing, and it occurs somewhat along the first ray, and Blavatsky was a great expert in it, and in the secret doctrine there was so much that was given. But my discussion will be a little different. It will not have the images, so you'll have to use your imagination. But as far as we have gone thus far, do you have anything that you wish to ask, or any relatively brief comments? And this would be the opportunity for you to inquire. And I'm just sort of searching to see if there's any hands up. And then, I'd let you speak for a moment. Okay, well, I'm always fascinated by what Tuija pulls together. It's a great interpretive art to bring together the Egyptology, the Buddhism, the Hinduism, the occultism, the Christianity. It's somewhat like what Blavatsky was doing, as she gave us this great overview of the traditions of the ages and their similarities. You begin to see how the mind of the initiate humanity was speaking in symbols at that time, and of course it requires a lot of the fourth ray, the ray of relation, the second ray, to bring that into focus. Okay. My presentation will be maybe a little more familiar, so there's so much to learn from the Egyptology and from the sort of hidden and very occult factors that are behind these images. It's amazing how they managed to condense them all into just a few potent images, and behind that, of course, is the whole history of Masonry and the revelation of the mysteries. Behind this is the theme of initiation. The pyramids, we know, were not just tombs, were they? They were the great temples of initiation, where the fire amid, the pure amid, could rise to the apex and we could become masters of the wisdom. I will be relatively brief. We have coming up, as you may see over here, our broadcast, which is for the time of the full moon, and that's been sent to you, the link there in your chat box. So if you wish to join us then in, let's say, another 2 hours and a half, or we're going to have some music before that, you are most welcome, and the link is there so you can copy that out for yourself. This, I don't want to repeat what Tuija has said. This is very interesting, an August month. It's interesting, the play on words, August and August. It is a time of the royalty of the spirit. And it is a time when our solar logos, who is already in a way a cosmic being, is affected by a lot larger system. Sirius may be a dwarf star, but for us it's extremely potent. It has well, they measure differently, but 33 times the luminosity of our sun. And our sun is powerful enough. Not yet, interestingly enough, not yet a sacred solar logos. You know, there are sacred and non-sacred planets, and there are solar logoi that are sacred. Sirius is sacred. It has taken the third cosmic initiation, at least that, and that logos, and our sun has not yet taken the third cosmic initiation. So we're learning a lot from the logos of Sirius. We are still a very astral Buddhic system, and we have not yet focused in the realm of cosmic mind. Although, interestingly, our solar logos at this time, we would be sensitive to that, is called a lion of cosmic will. So on Sirius, the great White Lodge, sometimes called the Blue Lodge, as in Masonry, is that area of our local cosmos to which a man is admitted when he becomes an initiate of the fifth degree. In other words, a master is a lowly apprentice, an entered apprentice to the lodge on Sirius. And I suppose when you become like the Christ, you become a seventh degree initiate. The Christ and the Buddha are becoming seventh degree initiates. They are like becoming transfigured initiates in relation to Sirius. And I suppose when they, carrying on the analogy, then our ninth initiation, which releases us from participation in our cosmic physical plane, well, then you can become, I suppose, equivalent to a master on Sirius. So the New World religion will bring this out, and we are trying to follow that idea. I think a lot of what we do here in the Temple of Silence, which Tuya and her co-workers have created, is to work very much with the Syrian force. So for us, the Festival of Sirius is a very important time trying to advance this particular energy. These are the references. I often pore over these references at this time. I seem never to extract enough from them, and I'm sure this is the case with so many of us. Sometimes Sirius is called the Blue Star, and as I was mentioning, it's the home of the Blue Lodge, which is reflected in our own Blue Lodge masonry. So that blue star is expressing through our blue logos. Now, the interesting thing about them, there is a cosmic logos, which is sometimes called the seven solar systems, of which ours is one. Now, we represent a great heart center within that greater logos, and that logos, I believe, there are different interpretations, but I believe that logos includes the star Sirius, which has been variously looked at either as a cosmic ajna center in that larger context, or even as the center at the top of the head. So the color blue is somehow connecting these great logoi, and we really are, when we talk about our cosmic logos, of which our sun is a part, what is the ray of that great being? Well, the ray could be considered to be possibly the sixth ray. It could be possibly the sixth ray, and it seems also to relate to a kind of cosmic solar plexus. So, in a way, our whole solar system is like a heart center within a great solar plexus, and there's a tremendous amount of devotion connected with the star Sirius. If we realize that how devoted is the star Sirius to the sort of master constellation Orion, sometimes called the cosmic Christ in a larger sense, we realize this tremendous sixth ray, which of which Sirius is possessed, just like Venus as a planet is possessed of the sixth ray. We don't oftentimes think of that. You know, we who will travel to Sirius, maybe 80-85% of humanity, are known as blissful dancing points of fanatical devotion. Blissful dancing points of fanatical devotion. So this whole idea of striving towards universal love is very much involved with Sirius. Just the way the sixth ray of devotion is let's call it a sub-monadic ray of Venus, whose true monadic ray is the second or higher monadic ray. We can say the same about Sirius. Its sub-monadic ray would be the sixth, and its true and final higher monadic ray, the second ray, and thus it is called, within a certain context here, the cosmic Christ. And then, of course, in a larger context, Orion is called the cosmic Christ. So we are suffused with this idea of blue, indigo blue, electric blue. All of us monadically find our home within the sun, and some of us will tread the path to Sirius. Very interesting about the Christ. You know, presently he's on what is called the ray path, the fifth path on the way of higher evolution. He is treading that path because, as a Chohan of the seventh degree, in a sense, you're already preparing for that. It says no matter where his adventures, that's not the word, but no matter where his work will take him, he will always return to Sirius. Sirius will be his final destination, at least in our context. The Buddha was to have taken the path to Sirius, but will now take yet another path. Sirius, a very powerful star, the leader of the heavenly hosts. We might say, why could this be the case? Maybe because Sirius is the foremost star in our system of seven suns. Of course, that system also probably includes the star Vega, which is about equal in strength to Sirius. So it's very interesting that both of them, as they oppose each other in the sky, are part of the great cosmic logos. It has some names which are not so gentle. One of the names of Sirius is the Scorcher. Well, it's a burning star. Of course, it appeared at times of great heat in the northern hemisphere, and especially in Egypt. So perhaps it was associated with the climate of the time, but the deeper occult meaning is that it burns away all impurities and limitations of the lunar life. Our particular little planet is strangely related to this great god Sirius. What a huge gulf there is between them. We have a tiny non-sacred planet on which we live, and it is many times removed from the power of our solar logos, which is many times removed from the power of Sirius. So when we come under Sirius, and we really do come under it quite fully from the time of the third initiation onward, we can expect that the impurities in our nature will be entirely burned away. We're not talking about those early impurities that occur on the path of probationary initiation. Those things are expected to be handled by ourselves. But we're talking about even the higher type of impurities which prevent us from living the life of the monad. I wouldn't be surprised if Sirius has a role in helping to destroy the causal body. There is this Buddhic factor in Sirius. Although it has a fifth ray soul, in all probability, the second and sixth ray are so strong, the Buddhic quality, and then those who are treading the fourth path, related to the Buddhic plane, are on their way to Sirius. So the 246 power of this local cosmic Christ are very, very great. And it's related to our sun. When we say that our God is a consuming fire, the consuming fire of love, we certainly mean our own solar logos, but Sirius is behind that as a potent energy of the cosmic Christ. So our whole yes, dear, yes. Someone want to speak?
Someone has their hand up, Michael.
Okay. Well, I tell you what, I'm going to call on. Thanks, Kay. I'm going to call on questions after I finish. Okay, so that will be the way I will work this. And just hold your question, and I will be happy to make an attempt to respond to it in a somewhat intelligent way. Okay, thank you, Kay. But hold your questions, keep your questions, and we'll deal with them before long. The Great White Lodge is sometimes called the Blue Lodge. Well, our own Lodge of Masters has its prototype on Sirius. So behind everything we do in our initiatory process is the great power of Sirius, inspiring not only the Solar Logos, but all of hierarchy. And it's interesting, the Sanat Kumara is not particularly on the Sirian line, and yet the planetary logos is deeply related to Sirius. And since Sanat Kumara is called the Lord of Venusian love, and since Venus is very connected with the star Sirius, we know that Sirius will, in a way, inspire the love of Shambhala as well. It has a great luminosity, and there's a tremendous kind of teaching of unfettered enlightenment that's coming out of Shambhala, and we can see that Sirius would be involved in the releasing of the great light which must educate all of humanity. Interesting about Sirius, cosmic love, or buddhi, is coming from Sirius. It says a stream of energy coming from the sun Sirius, and this enters directly into the hierarchy and carries with it the principle of buddhi, or cosmic love. Now, you see, it's so interesting because Sirius is at once sort of super monastic. It's got this tremendous fifth ray, just the way Venus on a lesser level has that tremendous fifth ray. But if you search deep enough, it's the cosmic love, it's the cosmic buddhi, which is really the fundamental thing about it. And of course, if you really want to go to a still greater source of cosmic buddhi, we will go to the Pleiades. The Pleiades on the cosmic buddhic plane are dispensers of the more authentic cosmic buddhi, and Sirius, focused on the cosmic mental plane, receives that. So it is these two together are very much connected with the solar angels. One doesn't necessarily think that the Pleiades are, but they are connected with the solar angels. And of course, Sirius is the great sponsor of everything solar angelic in our nature. So we are really trying to become more and more Sirian in our solar system. This is the star of initiation, star of sensitivity, star of karma. There's many factors. As I was saying last night, there's a great law of freedom on Sirius, and it is ruled in a way by our planet Uranus, and we do remember that Uranus is the hierarchical ruler of Leo. The sun veils Uranus, the hierarchical ruler of Leo. It's called the star of sensitivity, in a way the star of the Christ, and Neptune fulfills that function in a planetary sense, and then called the star of karma. Our solar angel is a kind of a minor karmic deity, and oversees and dispenses the karma which is due to the human monad, which it is assisting. So, excuse me, Uranus, Neptune, and Saturn are all the bringers of energy from the star Sirius, and look how important they are when it comes to our sun. They are the rulers when it comes to our sun. Not so much Saturn, but certainly Uranus and Neptune. And there's my friend Nicholas Nillen has done some research on this. There's a planet way out there, apparently called Isis. And Charles Jane, with whom I studied for some time, he dealt with these hidden planets. And somewhere out there, with an orbital period around our sun of some 360 years. And that's kind of interesting because our Earth orbits at 360 days around the sun, and this great planet Isis orbits at around 360 years. Its orbit is not completely determined, but that it exists, we're pretty sure. And the Tibetan gives a way in which Sirian energy flows through this unknown planet, and thence to Uranus, Neptune, and Saturn. So, there are many step-down transformers. We couldn't possibly receive the Sirian energy in any totally direct manner. We have to depend upon the devas connected with Sirius to transform the energy in such a way that we can actually withstand it. And none of us is, well, I'm saying when you're an average human being and you're coming under Sirius, you might get bitten by a dog. When you're an initiate, it's a whole different thing. So let's just work towards that third degree where the true nature of Sirius can make its impact upon us. Well, I've said some of this before, and we learn when we are a first degree initiate, we are an entered apprentice into our great white lodge. Well, just imagine, lives and lives later, you become a master of the wisdom, and you're just entering as an entered apprentice, just learning the ropes into the system of Sirius. So you can imagine what a contrast there is between these different white lodges. The solar angels came from Sirius. Many of us are going to be training to become solar angels in the next solar system, the first ray solar system, which our solar logos will have. And we will return from our training on Sirius to become that. Now, those who need the stimulation of Manas, they go to Sirius. So I would say the majority of Earth humanity who need the stimulation of Manas will be going to Sirius. And of our masters, we are told already that Master Jesus and Master Serapis, being on the 6th ray monad, 4th ray monad, they are on their way as lords of compassion to be, they are aligned with the Sirian method, and they are treading the fourth path to Sirius. Okay, well, I think I have, this is interesting, the three major influences which come from Sirius are focused through Regulus, or the heart of the lion. I mentioned this last night. Regulus is a great star, and it really talks about the kind of control or regulation. He says there's more information in these occult names than we may know. So there is this kind of information which and regulation which has to come through Regulus to every disciple. Leo is so involved in the whole initiatory process, and Sirius behind it. If Sirius is involved, Leo is involved. So, excuse me. When you are a first degree initiate, it's often taken when the sun is in Leo, or Leo is the rising sign. When at the second degree you open up to the heart of the sun, obviously Leo is involved. At the third initiation, you become the transfigured, radiant initiate, and your true consciousness is in this higher or second sun on our higher mental plane. And when we're taking the fourth initiation, it is that causal body ruled by Leo and all of its brilliance, which has to be, well, we can call it destroyed, but we can also call it sublimated, or raised up into a still higher state. And finally, at the great revelation at the fifth initiation, Leo being the fifth sign, that particular constellation is very, very powerful, giving the full illumination and makes it possible for us to be a revealing point at the point of the fifth initiation. So Sirius and Leo involved in all of our initiations. Okay. Well, these are, even the numerology is interesting. The alpha numeric here is 95. I don't know if they've counted more stars in Leo right now, or rather in Leo, but it seems to be related to number 5, and of course the tremendous Manas of Sirius with its fifth ray soul. is related to the number 5. So the symbolism of number is working all the way through in our local cosmos and throughout cosmos as a whole. We'll somehow learn to read the book of Cosmos as we go. Particularly the 7-ray energies are working through Sirius, the will aspect of the 7 rays coming through the Great Bear, and the love aspect and wisdom through Sirius, and its higher counterpart, the Little Bear. Now, sometimes the Sirius, which is really a dwarf star, very powerful for us, but maybe not so powerful in the larger sense, is an occult blind for the Little Bear. So there's a direct connection between the Little Bear and Sirius, kind of an Ajna center connection. Well, okay, I tell you what I'm going to do. I will open the floor to any questions here. I can see that we could really we could get into many things, many things here. Let's just say if we fulfill our karma correctly, if we obey the inner impulses of the soul, if we obey our solar angel, we will be on our way to a tremendous sensitivity, which will, in other words, we fulfill Saturn, we'll be on our way to a tremendous sensitivity, which will make us members of the hierarchy. And if we fulfill that kind of unitive, compassionate sensitivity under Neptune and Sirius, we will be on our way to the great freedom, coming under Uranus, that great law of freedom where we will become truly self-determining agents. Now, the interesting thing is, there's a Sirian law, this law of freedom, which does not allow the forces of light to impose their will upon others. They can evoke, they can attract, they can educate, they can uplift, they can inspire, but they cannot hit the center of will because of the Sirian law of freedom. Now, the Black Lodge is by no means constrained by such a law. And in these days when we have had and will be having again December 9th, the third Pluto opposition to Sirius, there's the whole question in humanity about freedom or self-determination. The 4 freedoms, as Franklin Roosevelt offered them, or this compulsion into the demand for submission to some teaching which is forced upon you. The Christians have been in it, the Muslims are in it. I mean, this idea of forced conversion to a concrete way of thought. The lower mind is narrow, set, limited, not expansive, as DK tells us in some of the old commentary, and that's the Plutonic way of going against the law of freedom. This is a tremendous issue that we have in our times. I do believe that, so to speak, the good guys will prevail. Well, everybody's good, but, it's a question of getting that through into personalities that are sometimes, even evil. DK said, there are certain evil personalities, which mean they are retrogressive, they're going back to former times and all of that. We have to prevail, and the Sirian law of freedom will help us prevail, just like the great, the Lords of Liberation, the Uranian Lord of Liberation, helped prevail during the Second World War. All right, well, as Tuya was saying, and it's really on and on. I have to laugh here. Sometimes we are told, well, we have Pleiadians in the backyard with their spaceships and all the rest. And just to give you a sense of proportion here, the DK tells us only one being from Sirius has visited our system, and that was at the time of individualization. So these are huge initiatory events that occur, and we're not on common terms with the great beings from Sirius, except, of course, our own solar angels, who really began as human beings in the last solar system. At least our solar angels did. All right. Well, it's well. You're faced with the Tibetan's teaching. It's huge. But what we need is the fundamental ability to feel this great unitive energy. This energy which is revealing what we really are as souls and spirits. We can talk about this till we're blue. Blue is a good color, but we have to somehow feel the presence of these Syrian and Leonian energies impacting upon our identity. So we raise ourselves out of the identification as personalities. We learn how to identify as the unitive soul in loving and wise relationship with all other souls. And finally, we enter the one life of our planet, of which the monad is an aspect, and we learn the true meaning of isolated unity. We isolate not only the unity, but we isolate the identicality of all lives, and we live in that, even though we learn how to handle everything else in a wise way. Well, give me a chance. I'll just go on and on and on. So what I'm going to do at the moment, was it Taya that had her hand up? I see a hand up, and I'm going to open the floor to you, Taya. What is your thought or question? Oh, you're on self-mute. You have to unmute yourself in order to be able to speak. You have the little green button, and if you press it, you should be off of self-mute, and then you can speak. Okay. Looks like you haven't found that button yet. I can't say anything more except that it is a little green button in a side panel, and it has a picture of a microphone in it, most likely. And once I'll tell you what, and some of you, if you wish, you can write questions in your chat box, and Kay and Joe can give those questions to me, and I can handle it that way, if you like. Okay? Is there anybody else that has questions? I don't know if I called upon the person who had a thought or a question at the time, but the floor is open to your. Yes, I hear a voice, a sound. Is that UK? Is it someone? Okay. Okay, I'm trying to find you. Just raise your hand if you have a thought or a question, or write in the chat box, and Kay will tell me what you have written. So Kay, you can be the voice of God. If I'm talking about something, just say, okay, a question has arrived, and I'll try to deal with it. It's such a. Yeah, go ahead. Who's there?
That's right. It's just me. I said, okay.
Yes, is that UK?
Yes, everything's okay.
Oh, everything's okay. And that's, well, I've always been saying that myself, Everything's okay. All right. Okay. Well, how long will it take? Most of us, I would say, we have taken the first initiation, or we're around that, because we really wouldn't be interested in these things in any sustained way unless we were at that point in our initiatory process ready to enter the kingdom of God, as it were, ready to really unfold the fifth petal of our egoic lotus and change our kingdoms, going from the fourth to the fifth kingdom. But it can be many lives before one becomes the so-called entered apprentice on Sirius. And let's say if we, the third initiation is a great objective, and there may be, from the time you take the first degree, there can be I don't know. Well, it depends on the intensity of the progress, but even 20 lives, maybe 30 lives, maybe 7 lives, But there are some lives between the first and the third degree, and at the third degree you become a humble disciple, not even a first degree initiate, a humble disciple in relation to the great star Sirius. So when we look up in the sky and we see that brilliant star, the brightest of all stars in terms of relative magnitude, because it's only 8 light years away from our sun, when we look at that star, we should allow its rays to enter our head, our heart, and somehow convey to us some inkling of its mysteries, which have fascinated humanity for so long and which have been fundamentally responsible in a very recessed way for individualization on our planet. Individualization for us was not only an initiation of our planetary logos, it was a kind of initiation for our solar logos, and no doubt it was induced by Sirius. So we are all, attempting to tread the path of aspiration, the path of discipleship, the path of initiation. All of this is controlled by Sirius, and according to the degree that we are willing to make the mundane in our nature, the lunar part of our nature, sacred, so will be the rapidity that we enter meaningfully into these greater energies which are waiting to transform our lives into a real joyous expression, participation in our solar system under the guidance of Sirius. Okay, are there any... yes.
Yeah.
Oh, Tuya.
Thank
okay,
you.
Hi.
Yes, it is
Okay,
Tuya.
okay.
I was just thinking that when we investigate and when we study the power of Sirius, and also for me, when I have been studying these myths, it has been giving me this insight of that how long time actually that our whole lives are covered, even though we would be very low states, it is governed by Syrian life.
Mm-hmm.
That there is something. I try to somehow explain that what I'm thinking. Isis is called also the Queen, or she is called. She is related to Papyrus, so she is related to plant kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
And the green is the color of renewal life, or the life which is born again.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking about only my life in this life, that how many times I have had this kind of impulses which were coming to us from somewhere, where this upliftment was happening, that life just took over. And I know that every one of us, we have every now and then that we are suddenly so stimulated. We are just taking some kind of possibilities, positivity of life, expansion of life. And of course we can translate that to many other ways too, but I think that the behind all of that is this great impulses from Sirius. And he actually talks about this rhythmic life of Sirius, that it is like a great heart which is pouring these energies, the rhythm of the beat, and because it is so much related to when we think about the heart of Leo, and it is related to Sirius, so there is something behind the scenes all the time. And if we become conscious of that how much we actually could help our everyday life in that just trying to hook in that. It's the same thing what he talks about, that we have to become sensitive to the energies of Christ, and it's the same because he is the greatest initiate for us from our perspective on Syrian line. This great impulse of wonderful life. This is about the sun.
Heartbeat, and I just want to carry that down one step because we know how the solar angels are connected with our solar logos and with Sirius, and DK talks about the rhythm of the impulses coming from the solar angels and how it's in white magic, and how we recognize these this sort of heartbeat, this sort of rhythmic impulse as our higher inspirations and all that wants to uplift us and our higher thoughts. It may start with Sirius, but it comes all the way down into our solar angelic life, to which we have to be sensitive through meditation. And he says, so many of you don't even give your soul a chance to get through with its rhythmic impulses because you don't allow rhythm into your life. In other words, you don't have rhythmic meditation. You're not rhythmically responsive, accessible, available. And, the heartbeat begins from far away, but it comes right down into our own life, and we have to avail ourselves of that. Yes. Okay. Well, thank you to you for the great life. The great life. And of course, I'm reminded of what Joseph Campbell said. He said, well, what we're looking for is not the meaning of life. We're looking for the experience of being alive. And I thought, well, that's the real thing. You can only be satisfied with the menu so long. One day you have to go into the restaurant and find what the menu is talking about. So the experience of being alive and the livingness that is conveyed to us by these Syrian and Leonian energies, these are the things of which we want to avail ourselves, so that we really have that etheric thrill of the power of life working through us at this time. After all, Leo is the heart. Leo and the heart is the life, and the life is being itself. So accessibility to these kinds of energies are possible now, and we shouldn't be satisfied to make them just theoretical. We want to feel the presence of these energies. Okay, friends, are there any questions? I have tried to access, some of you have blue question marks up there, and somehow I can't get to them. But maybe Kay or Joe or Brett could. I think Rick Good may have a question there. I can't make it appear for some reason. And is there anybody else that would like to offer a thought or a question? I see we have quite a good European representation. That may be because it's daylight here in Europe and the middle of the night in America. But this will be made available to you as soon as we can, and others can participate who are now asleep. Let's just say I'm still watching for any hands that may go up, or anybody who wants to offer a thought or a question. We are moving now towards the full moon. Yes, is there? Yes? Go ahead.
Michael, I'll try to read Rick Good's question.
Okay, yes. Is it long?
Well, I have difficulty too.
Okay.
I would ask what pressure it is that I cannot accept, but it's an inside joke, and I hope you smile.
It sounds very nice to me. It sounds like a cryptic hieroglyphic.
Yeah.
Well, but pressure. I'm just going to focus on one word. Is it pressure?
Yes.
Was I reading in Agni Yoga? This is one of those things where you don't want to lose a reference, and yet you lose it. Okay. But I remember exactly where I was when I read it, and I think I had a little book open in front of me, and it said, a little Agni Yoga book, but they're like dynamite, Pressure is the law of existence. I never forgot that. I don't think I retranslated it in my own mind. Pressure is the law of existence. And then Master Moria is always talking about the law of the pump. The greater the pressure downward, the more the rising of the fluid upward. So the idea is that under Vulcan, under the first ray, we have to, and really under the pressure of the soul, we have to submit ourselves to this heavenly pressure, which is tough on the personality. The personality, maybe wants an easy day in the sun, and there's this driving force of the Syrian life, the life of the initiate, the life of the becoming initiate, and we have to learn how to adapt to that. And the more pressure of the heavenly kind to which we are willing to submit ourselves, the greater will be our progress. So Master Moria has a famous statement, and some of you will recognize it. Burden me still more. Okay, that's the pressure, right? Burden me still more as I enter the beautiful garden. Leaves of Moria's garden. Burden me still more as I enter the beautiful garden. So many of us have acquiesced. We are willing to submit ourselves to the pressure, and we become stronger thereby. And we grow, Master Moria says, obstacles are possibilities. Okay, when will you finally learn? And he keeps on hammering that point home. When will you finally learn that obstacles are possibilities? So pressures are possibilities, and there may be moments when we say, oh, well, take this cup from me, it's too much and all that. But we are in an intensive training period now where during these next 10 years we have to learn how to take greater and greater pressure in our personal lives so that the kingdom of God can increasingly make itself known to humanity. We have 10 years left in the era of the Forerunner, and we have to use them to maximum advantage. It's not going to be easy, but it can be joyous. I'm sure that has nothing to do with what Rick was talking about, but anyway, I just fastened on one word, pressure. And yes, I'm smiling and enjoying myself. Okay. Anything else? Any other questions or comments? Yes, here's another one. Martha, let's get you unmuted there. Martha, go ahead, please. You can speak. Your hand is up, and you can say hi, or your microphone is open. Well, it looks like it's open. Okay. Anything there, Martha? Whoop, maybe not. But anyway, thank you for being here. It's great to see Denmark represented by a few people. Wonderful. We've had such wonderful times in Denmark teaching the wisdom under the sponsorship of Dr. Finn Anderson. He passed away 3 years ago, but he offered a wonderful opportunity for the spreading of the ageless wisdom in the Scandinavian countries, and especially in Denmark. Okay, something's happening there. And does anybody else have any thoughts? Well, friends, I'll tell you what. We're reaching that point. We've been together maybe almost 2 hours now. It's enough for right now. In less than 2 hours, we're going to start our broadcast. Tuya will be leading that, music, images, and so forth. And we will experience the full moon at that time, 10:42 and 52 seconds at Universal Time GMT. So if you're not having your own full moon meditation or going somewhere, please feel welcome to join our broadcast, and we'll be most happy to participate with you in the intensifying energies. Meanwhile, I want to thank everybody who has attended this discussion and lectures and a little bit of discussion on Sirius Leo Festival. There's much more here to deal with, and I'm not going to deal with it now, but maybe next time I use this compilation, I'll begin in the middle instead of at the beginning. And it's suffice it to say, the hierarchy.
Michael, I will do the same.
What will you do, dear? Oh, you will do the same, because you probably
I will do the same.
You probably left out half of your you left out half of your presentation, I'm sure. Okay, friends. So that's it for now. Are there any? Did I hear a distant question or a comment? Was that from Kay or Joe? Having difficulty hearing. I'm so sorry.
Maybe somebody.
I'm afraid that we cannot hear. Kay or Joe, can you translate? Do you hear? Do you hear?
I think.
That was a child under
nobody.
Martha's.
That was a child. Oh, and it's probably speaking Danish. All right, very good. All right. Okay, friends, we'll see you in a couple of hours, and we actually begin in an hour and a half with some preparatory alignment music and a little bit of instruction about how to proceed. So in your chat box, or however you receive it, is the link for the broadcast. Thank you, everybody, and Tuya and I wish you well, and we'll be back soon. And let's just intensify these Syrian, Leonian energies, making them great realities in our life. I mean, they are great realities, and let's open to the great reality that they are. And we'll see you soon, and we'll make this available to you on Makara. Brett, let's see, I suppose it'll, come within a day or so, something like that. And we have the whole period of distribution coming up, so you can use this information. All right.
And thank you for Fred and Kay and Joanne,
thank you.
Joe and all the staff and all the participants. Have a great Syrian day.
Okay, we'll see you soon. Bye. Bye-bye.